need to know the moves that you know that help you pump out those sweet mixes so quickly. Come on, man. Help a father out. Try and learn the hotkeys. Oh, dang. Hey, Luke. I bet you're real good with your left hand, aren't you? Right? Looks like you bit off more than you could handle. You've only got one mouse hand left. Don't make me take it.
It's markers. That's all you need.
I knew it was something simple.
Just learn the markers and the keystrokes. You have all you need.
You need a hand?
Yeah.
I gotta hand it to you.
And I've told you enough. For now, till tip number 5.
Well, that's handy.
Like and subscribe.
I only subscribe to channels that are dope. Do please say hello to Mom for me. Markers. Totally worth it. I said say hello to Mom.
Okay, music makers. Tip number 4. Key commands part 2 and markers. To even mess with markers, you need to get out of marker track to start. Either right click over here the way I usually do it and hit marker track, or you can jump up here and hit the plus and use this nifty little dialog and hit marker, and you can also name your marker track here. If you don't put anything here, it's just going to name it markers. Now the marker track is simply for you to label and jump around to different locations in your project easily. In addition, cycle markers are like 2 markers in one that designate a portion of your project. The first thing you want to be able to do is to put a marker down, so just get your playhead where you need it to be and hit this little doohickey right here, add marker. There you go, number 1. Number 2. And another way to put them down is to hit the insert key, and that will drop a marker everywhere you press it. Then once you have your markers out, then you're going to want to move around them. The easiest way to do this is to hit Shift 1 to jump to your first marker, and hit Shift 2 to go to your second marker. Now, after this, you might remember in the last video, I said the numpad keys from 3 through 9 I would talk about later. They can take you directly to those markers from marker 3 through 9. The reason that 1 and 2 are not available is because they are committed to the locators. So to jump to our markers, all you have to do is hit Shift 1, Shift 2, and then you can either hit Shift 3 and 4 and 5, which is fine, and so on, or you can jump over to the numpad and hit 3 and 4 and 5 all the way up to 9. Another fine way to work with the markers is by jumping between them. You can go back with Shift B or go next with Shift N, and it also includes the beginning and the end of the song as markers as well. Now let's suppose you have a need to name every marker and have those names visible on the markers instead of just 1, 2, 3. This is an easy thing to get done. It's also a great way to demonstrate the greatness of the key command dialog. The key command dialog is the first and really only resource you need to find out what keys are mapped to what commands and customizing your own setup. Here you have the key command dialog. You have all the commands that CUBASE makes available to assign to key combinations here in this one tree view. Whatever you have selected on the left, it will show you what keys are currently assigned to that. You can also go here and type in any key that you want. We'll do space because everybody knows that one. And that is assigned to transport, start, and stop. Now, if we want to actually see that over here to be able to change it, we can hit select right here and it'll bring that up in this command window for us. So we could change it if we want to. Don't recommend doing it with that one. Over here are just some presets. You can bring in some key commands from other DAWs if you know them already. And if you don't, you can simply use this area to save your own key setup and be able to play around with the other ones without losing what you've already done. Just simply press that and give it a name and you're done. Really quick, let's find that name marker we were talking about. And this is also a great demo of the little search function up here. We have insert and name marker here, and that's exactly what we want. It turns out that the tilde key and the backtick are both unused, and they're right in the corner there, so they're easy to remember. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's hit the backtick, and then you're not done though. We've only typed the key in here. Now we have to go ahead and assign that to this. We have this selected, we have the key typed in here, and then let's hit assign, and then it'll show up here, and now we know that key will do that. So let's just test it out. Let's jump out for a second, and then we will hit the backtick, and boom, it makes us marker number 6 and brings up the markers window and sets us up in a position where we can start to type. Hit enter and you're set. You have a name marker. It will now show in your window, and you can jump around just like you did with the other ones. You can continue to use that key mapping across all your projects. It's system-wide and it will not need to be re-added, but this does mean that if you don't want the shortcut, you'll have to delete it. Now real quick, I'm going to show you what I think is a better idea for something to use for that particular keystroke. In the typing key field, let's put in the backtick again to see where we're at. So instead of that, down here in the macros, this section is nothing but groups of the commands from up above that are made into one command. So you could also assign those to a keystroke. One of the most worthy ones down here, I believe, is duplicate selected tracks without data.
Now, back in the old days, we used to take the tracks.
Then select all the stuff that they had in them, all the clips, and then we would delete all those clips. And that's just a few steps too many to try to do that, right? Now you can just use a little macro like this that will duplicate selected tracks without data, and you can see all the commands that came from up here to go ahead and make that happen. Now, if you want to map one of these macros, the thing you have to do is go up here and look in the macro section for that macro. And then you will see duplicate selected tracks without data here. Okay, and then we want to assign that to our backtick. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to tell us you already used that. That's cool. We don't really need that. And so now, if we hit OK, we can go to one of these tracks, whatever you've done over here, and with your EQing, it'll all carry over and you don't have to set it all up again, right? That's the point of this. Let's go in here and just put some stuff in here. Let's do the pitch shifter from Antares. All right, yeah, those are great settings. We love it. And then our EQ is set up. Make sure it's selected. Hit that backtick, and boom, it's copied. Now, if we go here, you will see there's all my setup that we just did. There's one other way that you can jump from marker to marker. It's by hitting this locate button and then just picking the marker and jumping to that. I don't use this very often. I use the keys more often. Okay, so you got the markers. You know how to jump around from marker to marker. The only thing left to show you is cycle markers. So if I have my locator set to an area, I can hit this key right here and hit add cycle marker. And this will set up this different type of marker that will mark off this section. So if I use my locator somewhere else to do something different, and I need to get back to this setup, I don't have to remake it. I can just double click this and we're back in business. That's the whole purpose for that. You can also resize these. Woo! You can move them as well, but you can also resize them. You can jump to whichever cycle the same way we did the locators. That will set the locators to that particular cycle. Another cool thing you could do is hit zoom over here, and you can zoom your whole window into one of these markers. Cool, right? And don't remember Shift F again to see your full project. Control M for markers to see your marker window. You can make more than one marker track if you want to have a completely different setup to do something else with. Maybe one will have a bunch of hit points for a vocalist you're working with, and then the other one will be a set of markers for you to work with during editing and mixing. Now, whichever marker track is active is done with this little checkbox right here. Let's just drop a few points. If the bottom one's active, you'll cycle through those. And if this one is active, you will cycle through those. And the track does not have to be selected like it was to use those markers, because you obviously want to jump around and do other things, but then whichever marker track you have checked right here will be the current set that you will jump around within. Okay guys, that does it for today. we're out of time. The mix I was working today was for the Tiesto remix contest for the motto down below. And what you're seeing now are some things to go and check out my mix. Maybe give me an upvote. I'd really appreciate it. And that's all we got for today. I will see you on Tuesday.